Want to know what it's like to own a dumpster business? Well, today my friend Aaron is going to teach us all about it.
I was demoing a deck at my own house,
Yeah.
and I knew Dustin had the business.
I'm Dustin, the founder and the CEO of Dumpster Dudez.
Gave him a call, he showed up, we started talking. I drove with him and really got my first taste of dumpster business, and kind of that moment of like, is this really what I want to do with my life?
What's the point where then they're going to bring a driver on? That's the first hire. What did you look for in hiring that person? So what are you going to do in revenue this year?
I'm on track to do 1.5. I'm trying to get to 2 million. I think that's our goal next year, is to get to 2 million.
One of the biggest challenges for anybody who's new, it's making that transition, right? From working in it every day and to then having to start to delegate responsibility and work to then...
It's scary to hire an employee if you haven't ever had an employee. It's scary to purchase another truck and add another payment onto the business. And we deal with all these real emotions, and because at the end of the day, this is your life.
Cool, so how'd you get into the dumpster business?
It was a transitionary period. I was doing real estate and construction, partnering with my brother-in-law.
Okay.
We were flipping a house, COVID hit, things got wild, pretty much anywhere. But
Good wild?
Well, at first nobody knew what was going on, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it all worked out as real estate prices went up. But I was demoing a deck at my own house, and I knew Dustin had the business, and we've been acquaintances for years. And gave him a call, he showed up, we started talking. Life and timing and everything worked out.
Yep.
I drove with him, and really got my first taste of dumpster business and transfer stations, and kind of that moment of like, is this really what I want to do with my life? And it all worked out.
So what's your role with Dumpster Dudez?
So I wear a lot of hats right now, as we all do.
Yep.
But basically, I run the gamut. I'm pretty much first point of contact with any new franchisee setup in the pre-opening timeline. So a very forward-facing member of the corporate team, always there for discovery days, trainings, any type of calls, texts, emails, support, real time, whether it's, hey, can you get to this, no rush on this, or I'm in an emergency situation. I travel with Dustin for new location openings because that's always a very overwhelming process when 24 dumpsters show up on 4 semis, and they're not really too comfortable in the truck yet, and it's a nice day of practice, and franchisees usually feel very comfortable in the truck.
So really
after that day.
hands-on with the franchisees, working with them.
Very much so hands-on.
How many franchisees come from like a construction experience, comfortable with dumpsters, or is everybody kind of like...
I'd say it's 50-50, to be honest with you. The ones that do come from a little bit more of that background, easier time initially in the truck, but we've had guys come from all different types of backgrounds, and it doesn't take very long. You come up here for training, and it's not something that takes months to learn. Really, within a week of consistent practice and rinse and repeat, because it's all repetitive, you can get very comfortable.
How many dumpsters do we have here?
So right now we have about 20 here. I have 60 total. So this is our smallest dumpster. It's our 10-yard dumpster, 10 feet long. They're all 8 feet wide. This one's 4 feet tall. We get a lot of questions of, hey, is there one particular dumpster that is more popular with residents or more popular with contractors? Not necessarily. It kind of just ebbs and flows. As you can see right now, I have 15 10-yard dumpsters, so I only have one in the yard at the moment, and less 15 yards and more 20 and 25s. But sometimes it's the exact opposite. So we do get that question a lot, but it just depends.
Yeah, because I imagine for small residential project, this is perfect, right? Because they don't need one of these monster,
Perfect for small residential. Again, though, it could be perfect for a contractor doing a project in a residential area. So, and then if somebody has a big clean out for their entire house, they're moving. But you're right, one of the best things that we have are smaller dumpsters that fit in very tight spaces. We've got a lot of very narrow driveways on the main line here. So we get that question a lot too. It's like, hey, it's pretty tight, it's 9 feet. We're like, no problem, we got you. So this customer, pretty common questions of what can go in the dumpster, what can't go in the dumpster. Typically, that's something that not everybody has, because we have that all the language on the website and the contracts. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you know, you'll still get the question, how high can I load the dumpster? How long can I have it? But again, a lot of those are mitigated on a first call or through the website. It's just this was through a third party.
So what are some of the rules? What can't they put in the dumpster?
So basically any household, as long as it's solid waste, it's okay. So it could be, you know, any furniture, junk, household goods, any type of construction waste. The only thing that we really need to be careful of is no liquids, solvents, open paint cans, chemicals, anything like that, anything flammable, because we're legally we're solid waste carriers and not any hazardous material. And then what they try to do is for electronic recycling, now that there's a lot of recycling centers, a lot of the transfer stations want that to go to the recycling centers as well. So mainly the larger electronic appliance.
TV.
Yeah, exactly. Take that to the recycling
Or a fridge.
center. Yeah. Well, my place actually accepts fridges, but that's location specific. You just need to
know what you're...
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about stone, brick, like heavy material?
We can definitely do that. It's just that because we run trucks that are a little bit smaller than the CDL trucks, we just need to make sure that we're clearly setting expectations with our clients.
A little bit's okay.
Yeah, so we use the 10-yard dumpsters and we have them fill it halfway for a 5-yard max. Now, does it always happen? No, but you know, then you run into the issues of, well, maybe I need to bring another dumpster. But we're actually partnering with our vendor. They're making us 5-yard dumpsters that we're just going to use for clean fill to avoid that potential. We have a few franchisees that have already gotten those smaller 5-yard dumpsters and very happy with it. They're not running into the problem where a contractor could load it up more than what our capacity is.
Then what about overflow? They should keep them at the brim?
Yeah, so we have stickers on all of our dumpsters that say maximum load level. Does it always work, Brian?
No.
But for the most part, what we like about, we give our franchisees 2 options. You can have a automatic tarping unit, or we hand tarp. A lot of people just choose to hand tarp.
Yeah.
I hand tarp the dumpsters. I like it a lot. It just kind of wraps it up like a nice little package. If it is overflowing a little bit and it's not a safety concern, you can just throw some extra bungees here and there to make sure that the load is safe down the road. But for the most part, we try to stay at that maximum.
Yeah, and if a customer does, then it's just an overage charge, or hey, we need a second dumpster in here.
Which is also built into the contract as well.
Yeah, it was easy in, easy out, right?
That's the name.
What's the point where then they're going to bring a driver on? That's the first hire. What did you look for in hiring that person?
Yeah, so I guess 2 parts to that question. I'd say when you're looking for a driver, it's all going to depend on how you want to run your business and do you need cash flow. I mean, certainly if you have enough money that you don't have to worry about payroll, then certainly bring someone on sooner than later. But I would say a lot of guys are trying to push themselves to get to that point where they're at the 2.5, 3 time utilization rate with the 1 truck, and you know, they've had to order bins prior to getting an employee because they're trying to build up their income before they need to have payroll. So part 2, yeah, I would say for this type of industry, the best thing to do is to work your sphere of influence and see who might be interested. We have a wide range. If I'm just thinking about some franchise locations now, there's some that use, you know, gentleman that's retired that's just looking for some hours, extra hours during the week. There's some that have younger, you know, younger individuals that are looking to hustle a little bit more and grab as many hours as they can. So it really just depends, but working your own sphere and asking if you know anybody that would be interested in driving or would be interested in this type of job has been the better way to go than sort of you know, putting it out on an Indeed.
I'm Dustin, the founder and the CEO of Dumpster Dudez.
So how did you get into the dumpster business?
So I got in the dumpster business. I only got it in because I wanted a personal truck. I never had a personal car for like 13 years. I was in trucking industry prior to this. I had triaxles and I never needed a car, so I was in the process of buying a truck and I didn't like the price tag, so I was like, man, there's got to be a way that I can make money and still be able to do what I like. So I Googled, I got stuck in a landfill and all these big roll-off trucks kept coming in and out. And I was like, man, someone's got to cater to smaller homeowners and smaller businesses. So then I just Googled while I was there. I found my very first truck, and I bought it with 10 dumpsters. Once it came, I honestly didn't know much. I knew how to get them off. I got them off, and then I just started renting them out. I didn't even have a name picked out. I just rented out orange bins. I can remember my very first one, actually.
Did you paint them?
I didn't. They came. So the process with the color is I was going to do teal with yellow. And the gentleman that I was buying them from said that fades and it's not going to look great. So I just said, what's the brightest color that you have?
Okay.
And he said, we have this new international orange. And I said, oh, let's give that a try.
Okay.
And they showed up and I panicked a little bit because I was like, all right, what do I do? But I liked it because I had a personal vehicle now.
Yeah.
And what I really, really loved is anybody in my family was able to drive it. They could just take it down the road and no issues. So then I ended up rented one out to one of my buddies, and I remember it clearly. I think it was like $200 and it cost me $350 to dump it. And I was like, this isn't gonna work. So then I figured out how to model the money side of it. And as I started to grow, I still didn't have a name. It was just these big bright orange dumpsters
With
out.
a phone number on them?
Yep. No phone number. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. What you see here, nothing was on. And I really wanted to call it Dumpster Dudes with an S.
Okay.
And a gentleman in California actually owned the name.
Yeah.
I tried to buy it. It was a lot of money, and I said, huh. So me and my buddies, we kind of had like a little fire going, and they just kept saying my job was super easy, and I was like, huh, that makes sense, easy. And then I quick ran in, put the Z on the end, and
there it goes.
Yeah, and then as it started to even grow more into getting into it, I sat out there with pencil and paper, drew every dumpster, measured out every sticker, and I'd stand back, I'd like, no, that's got to go up 3 feet, down 3 feet.
Yeah. And what year was this?
That was in 2015.
So you started in 2015, and then how long did you build it until you started the franchising?
So I love that. I actually started franchising in 2019. So it was 3 years, and the only reason I did it is because as I started getting stickers on, people started seeing more. Everybody was coming to me and asking where to buy the franchise from.
Okay.
And I said, I'm the owner, not a franchise.
Yep.
And they were just like, hey, could we buy one? And I had no clue about franchising at all. So then I called about 20 lawyers, attorneys, and I was trying to figure out what to do, how to do it.
Yep.
And they were guiding me through it. And I finally got it set up. And then 2019, I actually sold, it was 2020 actually is when I sold my very first one to Brent and Lindsay, who have Lancaster, and then Aaron would have been number 2.
And Aaron was your second?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. And how many franchisees do you have today?
We have 28 locations now.
And all over the country?
All over the country, yep.
And what's the best part of this business? Like why do people buy in? Why do they love it?
I think it's because it's under the CDL. A lot of families, like if you have a husband and wife, like we have a team in Virginia. They're a husband and wife team. They actually both drive. I think that it's super easy to operate. It's very easy to manage. It's low employees. The profit margin can be very high if you're a go-getter.
So what are you going to do in revenue this year?
I'm on track to do 1.5.
And that'll be your best year?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Today. I'm trying to get to 2 million. I think that's our goal next year is to get to 2 million.
And then how many trucks, how many dumpsters, like what's it take?
So I have 5 trucks and I have roughly 200 dumpsters.
Oh,
now
200 dumpsters. Okay.
Yeah, and I only operate my location with 3 full-time drivers. I still drive a little bit just to get out.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it so much, so I like to get out. But I do have a lady that operates my location. Her name is Joni, and she runs
kind of the logistics, the scheduling.
I actually do the scheduling. She does more of the phone calls. She does more of dealing with if the customer has a problem or if an employee can't find where to put the dumpster. She handles that. I still handle all of the employee issues. I still handle all the truck maintenance, like if there's problems with the trucks, dumpsters, if there's a major thing, like if we hit a garage, I still handle all of that.
Okay. So then let's talk about the yard a little bit. So you start with a small yard, right? Because you don't have that many dumpsters.
Yep.
But then as you grow, like how big's your yard now?
We ask everybody to start with a ½ acre, and that's what we ask people to start with. Now you can start with something smaller, like a little bit, but we like you to be at that ½ acre because as you grow, because you do grow pretty quickly, and we just like to have people to have the extra space to put the dumpsters and the bins.
And that's what's like I think pretty cool about it is you're like always putting these things out, they're making money.
Yes.
And then it sounds like you're taking them from one customer's house, you're dumping it, and sometimes going right to another customer's house.
That is correct, yep.
So there's a constant turn on them?
Yeah, constantly.
Okay. So the first thing that we're gonna do when we wanna operate the hook lift, just grab that remote in the middle there.
Okay.
So right now the jib is pulled all the way forward to the cab. So the first thing we need to do is activate the drop-off pickup mode. So go ahead and press the button, bottom left there. So that shows the, that arrow going back, So keep holding it in. And then what we like to say is, you'll hear the hydraulics reverse when it's all the way in, and then you know that.
this is going back.
Correct. So now, the button on the top there that shows the arrow going back, Go ahead and hold that one in. If you're going very slowly, just go ahead and back into it, and it'll stop the truck. All right, now you know you're in. What I want you to do, I'm gonna stop you about halfway because I wanna show you two things that you're looking for, but just go ahead and start lifting the hook, top right there. This one? And then slowly, as you're doing that, you can just hold it in, slower with the truck, a little bit more brake. So go ahead and keep raising it. And I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, just stop right there. Perfect.
So tell me, how do you make money in this?
Right. So it is utilization rate is what we call it. Basically, we try to push to get people to up to a 3-time utilization rate. But when you're at a 3-time utilization rate, it's what I was telling you earlier. My yard is empty, and I'm calling customers, hey, can I get that dumpster back for another rental? Which is fantastic. If you're at that point, cash flow is it's definitely there. But what we're seeing is more of an average of like 2.5 as you continue to grow. Because as you continue to grow, there's a little bit more leniency of maybe leaving the dumpsters out. But when you're first starting with 24 dumpsters, you want to get that 3-time utilization rate to know that number one, you have cash flow, and number two, you're ready then to buy more equipment.
And utilization rate is just the turn. How many times do we turn the dumpster?
In a month,
each month? Okay. So for some basic math, let's say we had 24. Let's start. You start with 24 dumpsters.
Correct.
Right. So you have 24 dumpsters, and then what the initial goal is 2.5, 3 is kind of like your max.
Yeah, three's.
So there's this band, right?
Yes. Call it 2 or 2.5.
Okay, so you start with 2 turns, so you'd have 48 then rentals, right? Rentals in a month. And what's a target for the average rental?
Average price, you could use 500 for the example.
So then we have 48 turns times 500. So we bring in $24,000 in revenue. Turn the 24 dumpsters two times, right? And so then, at what point then do you look to say, hey, we're starting to reach capacity? It's number of turns.
That's
what you're starting to see.
So you'll see. Well, you can obviously run reports to see how many turns you have per month, but you'll also feel it in the calls, conversations, your scheduling. You'll know that
because they'll be saying, "Hey, I want this," and you're like, "I don't
want and you don't always have to look in your yard. I mean, everything's just on the software. But you're like, oh, well, you know what? I'm growing, and I need more dumpsters to alleviate that.
So we get to so you start with the 24 and 2 trucks.
24 and 1 truck.
1 truck and 24. Is that the general ratio, 24 to 1?
24 to 1 is it, well, you can probably run. We have some guys still running 1 truck. Up to like 36 dumpsters,
And you normally buy them in increments of 12?
Well, the goal there economically, of course, you want to maximize the truckload that's being delivered to you. So typically it's they can fit 6 units on a semi-truck.
Okay, so
to ship out
two
to
trucks,
you.
okay. Right. So we hit 24,000 or 2 turns, right? So we're now thinking, all right, we still got room to grow here, right? So now we're getting to 24, we get the 3 turns, right? So that at that point we'd have what, 72 turns times $500 a rental, and we're at 36,000. But now at this point we're saying, hey, we gotta buy more dumpsters, right?
Right.
So what do the dumpsters cost?
Could be anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000, so just call it $5,000.
So $5,000 per dumpster. And is it easy to get loans on them or leases, or how do you like finance them?
So we have a great leasing partner to start out the industry, and then they have different tiers based on how long you're in business, how quickly you want to grow. You can stay with the current leasing company that we have, or we have some other partners too.
Okay.
That, if you're looking to grow more
Okay.
quickly, then maybe you're utilizing another avenue in order to finance your next purchase.
Yep. But it's pretty bit. I mean, if you think about it, it costs $5,000 to buy it. If you can get $500, right? So you rent that thing 10 times, and it's paid for.
Right.
Yeah. And then which potentially could take 3 months if you turn them three times a month ish. But then it lasts for 20 years.
Right.
Right. I think that's one of the coolest part about this business is it's like you're buying an asset, right? The dumpster is an asset, and that once it's paid off, like that thing continues to make you money.
Right.
Right. It's like rental properties, right? You buy a rental and like you get it paid off, and every month, you're making money on it.
Right.
Versus like, a super sales driven, or you're constantly having to go out and sell and sell and sell. And this is kind of like once you get these things paid off, it can produce some good revenue.
Right.
So then what's this look like as it starts to scale? So then we start to buy more. You said you had 60 now, and you had 3 trucks?
I have
4
3
trucks?
I have 3 trucks.
Three
right now.
trucks.
Yep.
And so in an ideal world, right, if you're cranking, you got 180 rentals in a month and 90,000 or so in revenue on a.
I haven't eclipsed that.
But like
in a month
that's
yet.
what the capacity is.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And then you can continue just to buy more dumpsters, buy more trucks.
I mean, that's the thing. It's just, it's a very low employee overhead.
Yep.
You just buy more dumpsters and buy more trucks, and everybody comes in a different situation financially. So if you have more of a cushion,
Yep.
you can buy trucks sooner, you can buy dumpsters sooner, and you'll never have to feel that pinch of, oh, I might not have enough equipment to service the demand that's coming in. But that's good stress, right? So when
Yeah.
you're at that point, you're doing something right.
So how do you go about differentiating yourself? Is it the customer service, the relationship,
Yeah, I would say
we're gonna take care of you kind of thing? Is that the?
Yeah, I think it's more on the customer service side. Like we just really take care of, I hate to say it, but we're like a yes man. Like we just say yes to everything, and we try to make that customer as happy as possible. Like if they need the dumpster out, like I know Aaron and I were talking last night, someone needed it gone instantly. He was there right away. Like he just quick hopped in his truck,
And he went and got it.
7 o'clock at night, he's going down the road just to help the customer out.
And then how much of your business is residential, like the buyer versus like a contractor is the buyer?
Yeah, so that is great. So when you first start out like a franchisee,
Yeah.
it's more on the contract side. It's probably going to be more 60 to 80% as you start out and grow on the contractor side.
Just because they're easier to find?
Well, yeah, and they have more work. Like a homeowner's more of like a one-off.
Yeah.
Like they're only going to use you one
roofer
time.
needs it every day.
Yes,
right?
yes. And then but as it grows, as you get more mature, like my business, I'm about 50-50 now.
Okay.
Because the online presence and a lot of people are renting them online. They're not even calling anymore. They're just going on and plugging
booking
it in.
online.
Yep.
Okay.
Whereas the contractor side, they're still calling face-to-face on the phone, everything,
Okay.
and they're still asking us, hey, put it here. We need it for this date. Need it picked up on this time.
What are you guys looking for in a franchisee? Like, who's your ideal person who you want to be partners with?
Honestly, oh my God, it's a great question because I like both sides. I like the guys that can come in and just be the owner and hire people and they tell the people what to do, but also I cater more towards the owner operator because that's who I am. That's how I started. And I like that because I feel like if your hands are in it and you're out doing it, and when you're ready to hire that first employee, you know what to expect. You know the ups and downs.
You can do the work.
Yep.
And all that. Yeah.
But I like both ends. Because as I'm starting to step away as more of a owner operator and more, I'm just running my business. I see both sides now, and I kind of like that too. But at the end of the day, I really like when people get their hands on it and they're in there.
This is a hands-on business.
Yeah.
And I think the challenge for a lot of people is they start as an owner operator, but then it's the process of replacing themselves, right? It's like hiring their first employee, hiring the second, so that they can get out of the truck and actually go and like build the business. Because you can only, if you stay in the truck all day, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yes. Yep.
And so how do you kind of coach people through that? Like, I mean, it's the same path you went down, right? I mean, you were the guy in the truck to now, running this big company.
Yeah. So I always, I'm more, like I said, I'm more of the hands-on guy. So I'm always out. I would rather come out to your business, shake your hand. I'd like to show you the truck. But now that I'm more coming out of that role, I'm starting to see more of, it's becoming more of phone calls now, emailing, texting, and letting people know that we're in the community. I'm really big on doing community events. So like I like helping out our local police, the fire, try to get involved, do touch of trucks, and show that you are part of the community, but you can also go out there and shake hands, because people are going to come to you that own other businesses, and you can chat about it.
That's a great way, because especially think in this type of business where they can call anybody, so why should they call you guys, right? And like, if you're in the community and you're supportive of the police department and you're just involved, it just makes it like, why wouldn't we use these guys? Like they're your neighbors, right? I mean, that's the cool part about a franchise, right? It's like independently owned, operated, it's their business. They own that sphere, they own that territory. And they can make it, they can put as much effort as they want to put into it. Or if they want to be less hands off, like they're probably to grow slower though too, right? Because they're not going to get as many calls.
And that's something I learned too, that I am learning as the franchisor, that people don't want to grow as fast as me. They go at their own pace, which is awesome. But at the end of the day, I really want to see them get to my level, or honestly, I want to be at the bottom of the chain. I want them all above me, and so. But a lot of them grow pretty quickly, and that's getting a little tough to see some of the ones that kind of linger there, and they're comfortable there, and that's the hard part of motivating them and trying to push them.
The hard part for any franchisor is just like, they got to want it more than you want it.
Yes.
And you can give them all the tools and the resources and the training, but at the end of the day, it's their business to run, as long as they stay within the guardrails, right? So I hope you enjoyed learning all about the dumpster business. I know I learned a ton today. It was a lot of fun picking these things up, moving around. And meeting all these dumpster dudes.
All right, Brian, I'd say you're official. Time to go out and make it happen.
All right, let's go.
Appreciate it.